Big Mouth Billy Bass. When it comes to novelty items, this thing is king. Just look at this list on Wikipedia. Big Mouth is on top. I don't even care that the list is in alphabetical order. If you were alive sucking air and aware of your own consciousness back in the very early 2000s, then you were most definitely aware of Billy's existence. But who's responsible for this not so simple charming $1 million idea? Yes, $1 million idea because Big Mouth Billy Bass did generate millions during its time in the spotlight. Charming because it garnered worldwide admiration, and for a seemingly simple bass stuck on a plaque, on the inside it featured some mechanisms that were never tried before on a novelty toy. Hello, my name is Alan. Welcome to Facetious Intent. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive on a history of Big Mouth Billy Bass. Let's get into the video, and thanks for watching. Let's take it way back to 1984 in Irving, Texas, when this guy, Dan Flattery, started a little company called Jimmy Industries. You may have heard of the company or purchased some of their items if you're into decking your yard out with inflatables during Christmas and Halloween seasons. But in the very beginning, Jimmy made ballpoint pens, which, I don't know, I like pens, especially the one I'm currently using to draft out this script, but it doesn't compare to the rad items that the company shifted to in the early 90s. Jimmy tapped into novelty toys, focused on producing animated figures, dancing plush toys, and other quirky products. Jimmy Industries was able to produce unique, fun products that helped the company stand out and grow. Some of their novelty toys being dancing hamsters, frogs, Douglas fir, the talking tree, and in 1998, a mechanical sunflower named Sunny. And at that point, Jimmy Industries had the employee responsible for the idea of Big Mouth Billy Bass. Meet Joe Pelletieri. Joe Pelletieri began his career as a self-professed numbers guy. He received his MBA in marketing and finance from Indiana University and went on to work as a buyer for various department stores around the Midwest. After a decade of retail work, he went on to look for the next big thing. That turned out to be Jimmy Industries, which at that time was still considered a relatively small novelty toy business. Joe arrived in 1998 and Jimmy was peddling the aforementioned Sunny the Singing Sunflower. But sales weren't too great. Joe had an idea for the novelty toy. Why just one flower? Why can't we have a whole pot of flowers? And just like that, Jimmy moved forward with the idea and they started selling a quartet of flowers that move and groove to Glenn Miller's In the Mood. You can still actually find a few of these in the box on eBay, with some selling near the $100 mark, but you might get lucky and snag one well below that price. Because of the success of the Singing Flowers, Joe earned a promotion to VP of Product Development. Not bad, Joe. Not bad. But as many of you know, success in the novelty toy industry is short-lived. But that didn't stop Mr. Pelletieri from hooking the next big thing. Oh yeah. Inspiration can be hard to come by, but when it hits, it takes even more to act on it. This is what took place for Mr. P toward the end of '98 when he took a road trip with his wife, Barbara. Inspiration hit. Luckily, he was able to act on it. Now, there are a couple of versions of this story, but this is what they all have in common. Joe and his wife Barbara were on a road trip and they stopped at a Bass Pro Shop. His wife had proposed an idea after seeing the bass that is part of the Bass Pro Shop logo. What do you think about a singing fish on a plaque? Most people would laugh about it and move on, but not Joe. This guy is lightning in a bottle. He expanded on the idea and thought it would be funny, especially if the fish attached to the board would sing Al Green's Take Me to the River. The idea stuck with him for most of the following year. No one can really predict what will become popular. The world has had its Beanie Babies, Care Bears, but the world hasn't experienced Jimmy's Industries' Purple Cow, or in this case, Purple Fish. Purple Cow is a term coined by Seth Godin, a former e-commerce executive. Seth had written a book titled Purple Cow, Transform Your Business by Being Remarkable. Within the book, Seth argued that the way to get a hold of the market, one must create a purple cow. A product that sets itself away from the ordinary and becomes iconized by the consumers. This philosophy by Godin has been proven many times over. Think of Pet Rock, Tickle Me Elmo, and Tamagotchis that ruled the toy industry. I have not read the book myself, but if this was the main point, I totally agree with it. Joe Pelletieri agreed, but funny enough, executives at Jimmy hated the book. But Mr. Pelletieri had a hunch that he had Jimmy's purple cow. It all came down to make that idea into a reality. It wasn't easy for Joe P to get others hooked onto the idea. He spent weeks staring at a drawing he made of, well, a fish on a plaque. He worked with his engineers at Jimmy to finally bring the idea to life, and well, this is what they produced. Yeah, this first prototype doesn't look anywhere near as good as the final product. Even though this first iteration looked pretty basic, it did feature lip syncing and the fins shaking to a tune. But even so, Mr. Pelletier considered the first model to be horrible. I'm sure today collectors would pay top dollar for the first model, but back then, Mr. P knew it wouldn't catch customers' attention. So, he went back to the drawing board to make improvements. The first upgrade was to get the fish to sing and dance as realistically as possible. So Mr. P rented snorkeling gear to swim at the bottom of a lake to spy on fish and catch them singing and dancing in the act. Just kidding. I just find it funny that in the articles I've read, they mentioned that he wanted to have it sing and dance as realistically as possible, as if fish naturally sing and dance like in the wild or whatever. But anyway, he actually contacted a taxidermist to get closer to his goal of having realistic movements. Second, he swapped out the fish to a largemouth bass, as it was one of the most common game fish in the United States. I consider this a good decision. I mean, there was even a fishing game called Bass Hunter 64 that was released by Nintendo on June 30th, 1999. So I guess you could say 1999 sure was the year of the bass, I guess. Mr. Joe also decided to add a motion sensor to the plaque. I'm not sure why he didn't have that from the very start, since Jimmy has been using a motion sensor before creating Billy. Of course, when the motion sensor is switched on, it'll cause Billy to do his thing as a person walks by. Another upgrade was to have the fish turn its head. This idea popped into Mr. Joe's head during a meetup with Jimmy Industries engineers in Hong Kong. Could we get the fish to turn its head? Bruh. Back in those days, the inner mechanisms within Big Mouth Billy Bass were revolutionary to the world of animatronics, and the Jimmy engineers were able to overcome that challenge. Big Mouth Billy Bass could turn his head. Honestly, having Billy turn his head is the icing on the cake. I've owned a few Big Mouth Billy Basses that I've found either at thrift stores or yard sales, and one of them was faulty, and it was a lot less captivating without the head turn. Sure, it'd still catch your attention, but the head turn completely stops you dead in your tracks. A few additional changes were made before the final product release. Latex was used in first iteration, but it was changed out to PVC material since the latex scratches and wears down over time. And 2, Billy was filled with foam to allow smooth movement. And finally, the fish not only featured Al Green's Take Me to the River, but Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy. But wait, there's more. The product didn't even have an official name yet. It wasn't even Joe who named the product. Big Mouth Billy Bass was suggested by Jimmy Industries' packaging department, and he loved it. I'd like to think that the packaging department was just getting fed up with not having a name yet, and that the whole packaging design would have been thrown off if the name wasn't long enough or too short. But let's be honest, I wouldn't consider Jimmy's packaging designs to have been top tier at the time. After these changes, Big Mouth Billy Bass finally hit the shelves of Bass Pro Shops and Cracker Barrels as their first clients. The initial price for our beloved fish was set at $29.95. That's roughly paying around $54 in today's money when you adjust for inflation. Honestly, I would never pay that much for our beloved fish. I'm sorry, Billy. But after a quick search on eBay, I've seen some of them sell for over $100 in brand new condition. You might think Billy held his value well, but sold prices are actually all over the place, with some being at around the $20 to $25 mark, and that's still brand new in the box. Sheesh. Anywho, let's go back to 1999. Unlike Jimmy's previous mildly successful products, Big Mouth Billy Bass became an instant hit. There was no advertising for the product because it spoke, or in this case, sang and danced for itself, garnering over $100 million within the first 12 months. But why? Why was Billy such a success? Thanks to Joe pursuing a realistic approach versus the cartoonish look that Jimmy had previously used, Big Mouth Billy Bass actually looked like an actual taxidermy prize hanging upon the wall. Unknowing viewers would immediately be surprised as the motion sensor would activate and the fish would immediately turn its head directly to the viewer, as it would bust out the simple dance moves and sing. It was fun for the whole family. Children loved activating the motion sensor, and as Jason McCann, the chief executive of Jimmy Industries, put it, it was magic. People wanted to show their friends so they could watch their reactions. It's about kids and new families. That's the ultimate reward. When you see kids dancing and showing it off. That last part honestly sounds a lot like how TikTok got popular. I mean, kids dancing to it and showing and sharing videos of TikToks and whatnot. This guy really knew what he was talking about. Jimmy also tried a risky strategy. They deliberately manufactured the product at a slower rate than they could have. This ensured that Billy would stay on the shelves for a limited time. Stores would sell out quickly and therefore fueled product demand. Funny enough, the fish would sell out so quickly that the manager at the Bass Pro Shop that sparked the idea recalls having a few of his friends asking them to put aside a fish for them to buy later. By the year 2000, Big Mouth Billy Bass was just about treated like a celebrity, as it found its way to a few concerts, restaurants, even in the hands of a few celebrities. According to sources, Bill Clinton gifted one to his then Vice President Al Gore. Even Queen Elizabeth had one herself, and it is rumored that she could be heard singing along with the fish. Again, Jimmy didn't pay for advertising, so this just helped Big Mouth Billy Bass to gain more buzz. Big Mouth Billy Bass was truly riding on a wave of success. They even made a few variations like the Christmas version and Big Mouth Billy Bones. Those are pretty common, but the rare one that I love to find is the mini version that has the ability to record audio. And even with all that success from Big Mouth Billy Bass, Joe Pelletieri stayed humble. In his own words, if a product development person stands up and says, "Hey, look what I've done," there are usually a lot of different people involved in creating a product. Artists, engineers, salespeople, employees in the United States and in Hong Kong. It was a team effort. Jimmy eventually felt confident to promote the fish to a wider selection of stores like Walmart, Kmart, and Target. Problem was, they required a tight deadline. More stores meant more fish on the shelves, and they sure were flying off the shelves, and with the production cost of $4.50, Jimmy sure was raking in the money. But alas, by the fall of the year of 2001, the popularity for Big Mouth Billy Bass fell off. Well, it's actually difficult to pinpoint the exact date Big Mouth Billy Bass's popularity declined, but it's safe to say that the novelty factor definitely wore off. I mean, when you compare Big Mouth Billy Bass to things like this, Billy already started out the gate with an old-fashioned look. Plus, with such a high demand in the beginning, I'm sure that everyone that wanted one was able to snag one at some point. I was around 6 years old when these were popular, and I recall seeing them around and their sudden disappearance. I loved the product for its element of surprise, and of course, being a 6-year-old kid, I really didn't know that it was all thanks to the motion sensor. My folks never bought one. I mean, there was no way they're gonna pay the $30 for the product. But it's pretty crazy, by the tail end of the fish's career, Big Mouth Billy Bass ended up selling at the all-time low of $5. And of course, by that point, a lot of imitators started showing up. So you had a lot of people buying the fake C's and being like, "Hey, look at these." And as for Al Green, he says he made more off of the royalties from Big Mouth Billy Bass singing "Take Me to the River" than anything else he's done before, which is pretty incredible. And with that, that's the end of Big Mouth Billy Bass's career, but not the complete end for the fish. Big Mouth Billy Bass lives on in the hearts of collectors. I currently own 3 myself, and I'm hoping to find the mini version and the Big Mouth Billy Bones at either a yard sale or thrift store. Like I've mentioned before, Big Mouth Billy Bass sells for a solid amount of money on eBay. So me being me, I'd rather pay like $2 or $3 at a yard sale versus paying like, I don't know, $25 and up for one. And probably hundreds for the mini version since it's so rare. And if you really enjoy the fish, a place you can find many Big Mouth Billy Basses on display is Dallas-based restaurant Flying Fish. They have a whole section dedicated to the fish, and you can even donate yours. Doing so will get you a free basket of fried catfish and fries. And if you'd really like to visit the Flying Fish restaurant, but you're not in the Dallas area, don't worry. They have a few more locations spread out throughout Texas, a couple in Arkansas and one in Tennessee. The one in Little Rock, Arkansas and Memphis, Tennessee definitely have the wall of Big Mouth Billy Basses, but for any other locations, you're definitely gonna have to call ahead before making, I don't know, a 2-hour trip to the restaurant. Big Mouth Billy Bass hasn't just made itself into these restaurants, but it's made its way into pop culture as well. Big Mouth Billy Bass made a few appearances in TV shows like The Sopranos, The Simpsons, and The Crown, but my favorite appearance was in Disney Pixar's film WALL-E. It didn't linger too long, it was short and simple. There's even a few videos that I've seen of Big Mouth Billy Bass being hacked to lip sync and dance to a variety of songs. The lip sync being really cool because not even the Amazon Big Mouth Billy Bass lip syncs to songs except for the one built in. Oh, did I forget to mention that? Yeah, in 2018, Amazon released a Big Mouth Billy Bass that is activated with Alexa. The fish lip syncs when Alexa talks and it lifts its head like the classic. Pretty neat. And with that, we are at the end of any major updates to Big Mouth Billy Bass. From a silly idea that became a reality, Big Mouth Billy Bass grew its legs and sprinted its way through popularity, with variations and imitators following close behind. But who knows, maybe one day we'll have some kind of Jimmy AI Big Mouth Billy Bass in the future. That's it for the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any interesting Big Mouth Billy Bass variations or stories, comment down below. I'd love to hear them. But also, thanks again for watching, and stay well.